Hello, everybody, and welcome to Athletic Definition. My name is Coach Ray Z, and today we're going to be talking about hot Cheetos, flaming hot Cheetos, that is, and the conspiracies behind it. Now, I am not a registered dietitian or a licensed nutritionist. This is just my opinion on hot Cheetos. I'm sure they're so popular as I was looking into it, and depending on which website you go to and where you look, they're either the most popular, like chips all over the world, or they're in the top 10. So I couldn't really find out exactly what they are, but they're definitely popular, in particular, the hot Cheetos. So I know I'm not going to get you to stop eating them, but maybe if you become more aware of what's in them, maybe you already know, maybe you don't, then or maybe you'll just reduce how much you eat them. I personally eat them myself. You know, as I get into it, three of the controversies that I found is the first one, it's not really too health related, but I did find it interesting by a young lady on YouTube who seems to have a lot of followers. Her name's uh, Abelina Sabrina. And she was talking about that when you buy them, if you buy snack size, regular size, family size, party size, that they have different flavors depending on the size that you buy. I've had different flavors, but I've never actually could say that, oh, well, you know, from me trying different flavors, I could actually tell you, yeah, I've noticed that these are more spicier than others. That's something that sounds like fun, but I don't think I'll be able to let you know. But if anybody here has noticed that, where they're from, I'd be more than happy to bring you up and you can share your stories about hot Cheetos. Um, the other one is really, I would say pretty much everybody knows, kind of, sort of, where they come. We all know about Richard Montañez. I think that's his name. Yeah. But before we get there, it was really where it was created and why. So on the internet, I found that Charles Elmer Doolin invented Cheetos in 1948. But before that, the cheese puffs, it really came because it's repurposed cow food. And if you click on the link that I have on the fortune cookie, it'll take you to a cool food theory episode on where I got some of this information. And on the notes, I'll be placing the other ones. But really, they had this machine to break up the food for the cows. And I guess it would get clogged a lot. So to unclog it, they would run corn through the machine. And when they would run corn through the machine, these little cheese puffs, Cheeto like things came out of the side of the machine. And one guy named Edward Wilson, who was a machine operator at the factory, took them home and put some seasoning on it, and people loved it. And from there, they kind of realized, oh, this is going to be like a hit. So what they did is they got different, like they changed the names of the company so they could keep their cow feeding company separate, and then they created a new company for to be able to sell like Cheetos and basically Chiefs puffs, and that's what they did. So really, what we're eating now is repurposed cow food. So I don't know if most people know that. Maybe if you know that, you would maybe eat less of them. Like I said, you're going to eat what you're going to eat. Life is short. Enjoy it. But at the same time, we want to be able to go with the longevity, which is play with your grandkids, and watching what we eat is going to be part of it, or daily exercise. You got to choose what you want to do. All right. And then the other one that, as I was looking into it, well, one is that also they spend so much money on you buying chips. Like there's people that are called. Let me go back to my notes here. They're called food designers, and these food designers, I guess to them, they call it the bliss point, and they basically uh, try to fool your taste buds and your mind all at the same time. There's another video that I really enjoy by a mentalist named Derek Brown. He's from the UK, and he shows all these tricks that advertisers do on us on a daily basis to get us to buy and purchase things that we don't really want. And I'll include it on the show notes. And it's basically just he does a nice, cool trick with advertisers, so people can realize how much power and influence they really have on the subconscious mind. And so what they do with the Cheetos is when you take a Cheeto, and I have one here, if you hear that noise, that that crunchiness, it fools your brain, mm, to thinking that it's fresh. And so the more fresh, let me finish this chip here, which I mean, they're addicting. And based on these studies, it shows why they're addicting, because that crunchiness, it makes your brain think, oh, it's fresh, so it's got to be good. I want more. Then they have something else called the vanishing caloric uh, density, I believe it's called. And it tricks your brain to think that you're not getting enough food. And then this has a perfect combination of, what is it, salt, fat, um, and I think sugar as well. So much so that I think in like 2012, a lot of schools like in California, Illinois, and I can't remember other state wanted to, and I believe have banned, because of the basically how unhealthy this is for you. They say that it comes with about an average of 189 chips per bag, but roughly, I guess people take them out and count them, and each one comes with roughly about like 200 and something. So really, the nutrition facts, if that is the case, would be incorrect as well. Something to think about. Mm. Besides, all the money that they spend on marketing, and to trick your brain and your taste buds at the same time. Um, they do a couple other ones, but I didn't write them down. But the last conspiracy comes down to Richard Montanez, and he is, I we all love the feel good story, rags to riches, especially myself being Mexican American, growing up in California. This guy grew up in California, I believe Ontario, and then he wanted to be a truck driver. I'm not a trash collector, from what I learned and looked into, and that didn't happen. And this is where it gets controversial. Supposedly, he was the janitor, as the story goes, which I heard a few years ago. He was a janitor at Frito Lay's, which is the owner of Hot Cheetos and also a subsidiary of PepsiCo. And so he was there, and they had some sort of slogan where it's like, pretend like you're the boss or something like that. Take ownership like you're the boss, and that's what he did. He got some there was something wrong with the machine once again. And before they put that cheesy powder on the Cheetos, before, they had the flaming hot Cheetos, what they would do is, bake them, fry them. And I'm sorry, not bake them, fry them. And then when the machine broke, he had some extra, like, Cheetos that he could take home and experiment with. Supposedly, there's many different variations of this story, and that him and his wife kept trying different variations till they got it right. Then another story is that he was eating lunch, and while he was eating lunch, he saw Elotero man, and he went and he bought corn off him. And when he put chili, he's like, "Oh, this looks like a Cheeto," and then that's where he got the idea. The other one I heard about him and his wife is also he went to a street vendor and he bought something. And just kind of as I was looking into this, Frito is Spanish, I believe, that they named it after the vendor who he bought something. They give him the idea about Fritos, that, later on purchased everything and became Frito Lay's. So it turns out that, this guy, he's, you know, like I was saying, everyone loves a good feel story, and he's done good with the opportunities that he's received, um, like doing scholarships for Latinos, which, I mean, I can't knock him for that. But at the same time, it looks like he actually he was never a janitor. For some reason, LA Times did a story on him maybe a while back. This probably came out about 10 months ago, but I was unaware. And LA Times did a story on him, and it turns out that there's no record of him being a janitor that actually started off as a plant worker. Now, that doesn't take away from everything else that he's accomplished in his life, and but at the same time, if the story is embellished or lied to, and you're receiving $50,000 in speaking engagements because of it, would the story be as good if you're a plant worker? I would say so, but maybe not enough to get Hollywood. I believe right now it's Fox Spotlight or something like that. It's called. They're want to do a biopic on him with Eva Longoria directing it. And so he's definitely got a lot of opportunities. And if it was based on a lie, and now looks like, Frito Lay's is coming out saying that some top shots professionals came up with it, and the names I heard are white, and I'm not being racist or anything, but basically, even before that was a thing, I remember, as a family, we'd get chips and anything like that and open them up and add tapatio and limon. So what they introduced to us like years later is nothing new to the Latino community. So I really doubt, because I heard the name like Chad something, that Chad's the guy who came up with the idea. He said that he's from Illinois, and I just, I think that basically it was taken from, the idea was taken from street vendors for sure. That's what I think, and it'd be nice if somehow they could get some sort of residuals for it. And now it's, I guess we may never know, because Richard stands by what he claims, that he invented it when he got the idea from eating it during lunch. There's different stories that he contacted the CEO, and that the CEO was like, well, he took the meeting with him, and that other people in the marketing department laughed at him, and only the CEO liked the idea. And now there's stories that no, the CEO never approved it, that some other people did. So we may never know who really invented the hot flaming Cheeto, although I say the Latin community invented it, because it's really just a repurposed idea that they took. And then I was thinking this even before I found this out, but if he did create it and he went on to work with, I think, KFC and Taco Bell to help, um, attract the Latin consumer. But if that is the case, when you create something, I'm sure your intention isn't for so many people to eat it. Where you can look it up, kids are going, and I'll be putting it on the show notes, different articles, and also different YouTube videos that you can see where kids are actually going to the hospital because they eat so much. And when you create something, you probably don't you know you don't have the idea to, I'm going to create something that's going to just be bad for everybody, and cause health issues and help towards obesity. Yeah, you think of the money and everything else. So it's a hard thing to say when you're like, oh, you want that rags to riches story, you want to be inspired, you want to be like, oh, a guy who dropped out of fourth grade. But at the same time, it's just full of controversy, and that was just because I seen this cow food video on YouTube a while back, but I recently did an episode on Popeye. And I got it from Food Theory, so I'm like, oh, let me go back to some good episodes that I've seen that I know I can touch the theme on. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do the Cheetos. And when I was researching the Cheetos, that's when I came out that the story is a lie, that he was never a janitor. And I'm not sure what else is truth or not truth. I didn't read into the whole thing, but I saw like I read a couple articles. I didn't read the LA Time article, and then I seen like maybe two reviews that some newscasters were doing, talking about the report that came out. So that's something that you can look up, and I will add to the show notes on the podcast and on the YouTube channel. My name is Coach Ray Z, and you can catch me here usually every Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific time zone. It'll vary from time to time. Today is episode number 96, counting down to number 100. Number 97 will be later today, and that'll be compression socks don't work. I am a marathon runner, for those of you who don't know. And I've completed 56, going to do number 57 within maybe 2.5 weeks. Compression socks is something that are used for many different things, but they also caught on. I think the fad has gone a little bit over now in running. I don't really see it as much, but some people swear by it. And to me, compression socks don't work. I've ran marathons with them. I've used them for, rehab or recovery, and I've used them before. So we'll be talking about that later on today for Athletic Definition episode 97. And it'll be all about compression socks. And you can let me know if you've used them, if you think they work or not, and which are your favorite brands, anything like that. That's basically going to be about the compression socks, and see if you find it useful. And today, I hope you enjoyed this about, you know, hot Cheetos and chips in general, and maybe just help you reconsider what you're consuming, where it comes from, and everything else. So thank you for joining. This has been Coach Ray Z, Athletic Definition, episode 96, live here on Fireside.